As the United States moves past a grim COVID-19 milestone, health officials are now bracing for the holiday season. Despite a federal judge throwing out a lawsuit by President Trump's campaign, legal efforts continue in an attempt to overturn the election results.
Packing for Operation Christmas Child is underway at First Alliance Church. Coming up, we'll tell you how you can give back during the holiday season.
Live in high definition from your news leader, this is 1024 Action News at 11.
New at 11, the coronavirus pandemic continues to take its toll. More than 256,000 Americans have died from COVID-19 since the pandemic began. ABC's Zohreen Shah reports that many are now waiting for a vaccine.
The United States moving past a grim milestone this weekend. More than 12 million confirmed coronavirus cases since the pandemic began. Nearly 9,500 American lives lost in the past week, a jump of almost 20% from the previous week. Deaths are now climbing in 35 states and Puerto Rico, and hospitalizations are rising in every state.
I would 100% be lying if I said I wasn't nervous to go to work next week.
A county judge in El Paso now asking the governor for permission to reimpose a curfew. The city's main morgue and 9 mobile units filling up. FEMA sending 25 ambulances to Minnesota to help in transferring patients between hospitals due to capacity issues. 15 members of one family in Arlington, Texas, diagnosed with the virus after a small birthday party.
Took every single precaution with the exception of gathering. You are not immune, your family's not immune, but staying at home, you can prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Officials now focused on the holiday season.
There are more family gatherings, 37 days between today and January 2nd of significantly increased social activity.
The CDC has urged Americans to avoid travel and to celebrate just with those in your own household.
When you're eating and drinking, obviously you have to take your mask off. We know now that those are the kinds of situations that are leading to outbreaks.
On Friday, Pfizer filed for emergency use authorization from the FDA for its vaccine. Moderna expects to file by the end of the month. But there is concern many Americans may not be willing to be vaccinated.
And I think it's very unfortunate because this has been exacerbated by the political context under which we have worked very hard with the companies and with the thousands of people that have been involved to make these vaccines available.
Zohreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
For the 11th day in a row, there is a triple-digit spike in COVID-19 cases in Erie County. Today, the State Department of Health reports 114 new cases of COVID-19 in the county. This brings the total number of cases since March to 4,382. Elsewhere in the region, Crawford County is reporting an increase of 50 cases, bringing the total there to 1,470. Warren County reports 9 new cases for a total of 163 cases since March. Ashtabula County has 66 new cases for a total of 2,047. Chautauqua County, New York reporting 1,492. That's an increase of 21 new cases. Meanwhile, the Pennsylvania Department of Health is reporting 7,075 new cases today. The total number of cases reported since March now stands at over 309,000. The state also reporting 41 additional deaths today, bringing that total to 9,842. Jet 24 Action News is your local election headquarters. A federal lawsuit filed by the Trump campaign in hopes to overturn the election was thrown out in Pennsylvania. Daniel Hamburg reports that legal efforts to stop certification of the election are not stopping.
It's been 2.5 weeks since the election. Joe Biden has an 80,000 vote lead over President Trump. While Trump's lawsuits may have failed, his allies are still trying. The argument tossed out in federal court was that equal protection under the law was violated when Pennsylvania counties took different approaches to notifying voters before the election about technical problems with submitted mail-in ballots. The judge saying he was presented with, quote, strained legal arguments without merit and speculative accusations unsupported by evidence. Hours before the ruling, Congressman Mike Kelly filed a suit in Commonwealth Court, calling Act 77, which allows for mail-in ballots, unconstitutional. Additionally, asking for the results not to be certified.
The fact that this had been passed and signed by the governor certainly does not prevent it from being challenged.
The Pennsylvania Constitution says only 4 categories of people are entitled to an absentee ballot: those away for work, people who are disabled, election day workers, or because of a religious holiday.
There wouldn't be any reason to list those 4 categories if the legislature could just add more categories or treat the entire electorate as entitled to an absentee ballot. Because Act 77 extends effectively absentee balloting to everybody in the Commonwealth, it's in conflict with that provision of the Constitution.
On Twitter, Attorney General Josh Shapiro called the lawsuit another weak attempt to subvert the will of the people. Desperate, hypocritical, baseless.
Sunday afternoon, President Trump and several other plaintiffs have since filed an appeal in court to challenge the federal judge's decision. With President Trump refusing to concede the election to President-elect Joe Biden, Biden's chief of staff believes the delay is slowing down the transition and it could have a negative impact on the distribution of a vaccine if and when one is approved.
If there isn't a seamless flow of information now so that we know what we're getting ourselves into, so we know what plans they've made, so we know what gaps there are in the plans, then I do think there's risk that that distribution has gaps and lapses starting on January 20th.
Biden is moving ahead with parts of the transition. He's expected to announce some of his first cabinet picks this Tuesday. For all the latest updates and election news anytime, you can go to your local election headquarters. That's on our website, yourerie.com. It's the final push for children across the world to experience a gift during the holiday season. Volunteers with the Samaritan's Purse are preparing to pack away thousands of shoe boxes for Operation Christmas Child. Star Bodie joins us in the control room with more after speaking with volunteers about the importance of these gifts. Hi, Star.
Good evening, Brian. 11,000 is the number so far, and that's the number of boxes that are being sealed and delivered to children in need. And volunteers say that this year is more important than ever.
It's a small gift that can make a big difference.
Bring them a bit of hope and joy and the saving grace of Jesus Christ.
A shoebox with a meaning. Volunteers at Operation Christmas Child are preparing boxes with toys, school supplies, and hygiene items for children that will be delivered across the world.
They're going to go from here on trucks down to Baltimore where they will be processed and sent out to children in 100 different countries around the world. And it's pretty exciting. Even in this year, this is a simple project that people can do.
More than 11,000 shoe boxes from Erie, Warren, and Crawford counties will be sent to children that are affected by war, disease, and famine.
Volunteers say one box can change a child's life by giving them the items they need for success.
So each of these hygiene supplies and these school supplies, things that might not mean a whole lot to us, they're very important to these kids for just their everyday lives.
The most valuable gift
to receive the greatest gift, and that is hearing about the good news of Jesus Christ.
Children are expected to receive their shoe boxes by Christmas.
If you want to donate a shoebox, you can do so by tomorrow at First Alliance Church between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Brian?
Thank you, Star. After more than 60 years, the Diocese of Erie will be closing the Carmelite Monastery that's located on East Gore Road. The Director of Communications with the Diocese confirmed that the Carmelite nuns are preparing to close the Erie-based Holy Family Monastery. This is being done in response to the Coronice, which is a document published by the Vatican in 2018 that provides new guidance for contemplated communities. She says there are not enough members in Erie's monastery for it to remain open. And to see a complete statement from the Erie Diocese, log on to yourerie.com. And coming up on Jet 24 Action News at 11, it's the season of giving, especially in a time of need. We'll tell you about folks donating blood as blood banks run low. First, let's check in the weather with Craig. Hey, Craig.
And we will get you ready to go for Thanksgiving, plus some fun with numbers. That's next.
From your news leader, you're watching Brian Wilk. Meteorologist Craig Flint